Good day, Edgeboard, Sunday, August 2nd. Let's do this. Code EDGE to get 25% off your subscription. For the first year, that comes down to $90 for an entire year for what we offer. Absolutely amazing price.
Every night, thousands of player and team props hit the books. Edgeboard runs every single one through advanced simulations built on years of historical data and services the few with the real statistical edge. Tap any prop to unlock the deep matchup data behind it. We cover every major sports league with more being added all the time. Want a parlay? Choose your book, your legs, your leagues, and how aggressive you want it. Edgeboard auto builds the strongest ticket for you. Try it free for 7 days. After that, just $9.99 a month. Edgeboard, find your edge. Every night, thousands of player and team props hit the books. Edgeboard runs every single one through advanced simulations built on years of historical data and services the few with the real statistical edge. Tap any prop to unlock the deep matchup data behind it. We cover every major sports league with more being added all the time. Want a parlay? Choose your book, your legs, your leagues, and how aggressive you want it. Edgeboard auto builds the strongest ticket for you. Try it free for 7 days. After that, just $9.99 a month. Edgeboard, find your edge.
I was getting confused before why it keeps doing this, but YouTube keeps showing my previous video on here after I play this. So there you go, folks. Code EDGE. We are live. August 1st was kind of our official opening. We did a soft opening. We're on 2 days of back-to-back double-digit return on investment wins. Quick recap to last night, some things to discuss there. So on the Edgeboard itself, one of the only sites, well, I'll be honest, I think we are the only site that grades our bets each night. We try to show where we think we're seeing some good data come in. The game of the day was the Minnesota versus Seattle, that on favorable matchups, we showed a 44.5% profit, going 11-3 on those props. The profit, by the way, is based if every bet was a $10 bet. Obviously, we don't guarantee future results when we show you this. This is just a review of last night. I'm going to make myself a note, too. I want to talk to my teammates on a couple of these things. I wanted to ask a couple questions there. And for myself personally, well, here, look, we'll talk about a couple other things. Again, what did we think some of our edge summaries hit? Last 10 hit rate turned out to be, that's a pretty easy one right there, but we're seeing some return on investment there. Some lift provided, opponent pace of play for WNBA opponents, field goal percentage allowed. For MLB, again, we're showing that our bullpen data is something that's worth focusing on, providing some lift, the pitch mix matchup, as well as, again, hit rate. Categories that finished ahead. What I really look for in that, I'll be honest, I don't try to stress too much when I cover this with you about one-day results. What I try to do is see if we can find some trends in here. I brought it up the other day. Out of the ones I see here, again, we had another, because this is showing basically one-day stats, that WNBA overall points, rebounds, assists. If you're looking for what we determined to be winning matchups, we were 9-6 again last night, and we're showing that category to be not just a 1 day, but also a 7 day and a 30-day, 7.8% overall ROI. So that one, and then I would say the WNBA points over, again showing that it was not just a winning category last night at 8.4%, but it's been a 1 week and 30-day winning category. So that's worth pointing out. Sometimes why do we point that out is more about, is Vegas possibly missing the boat on their bets there? Are they behind on what is where we think these bets are right now? So that's a little bit of a recap for you there. Personally, we came off a huge day 2 days ago. Saturday, to be honest, I went over a lot of the board, and I kind of brought up that it was more of a day that I went pretty thin on my overall play. Some of my big plays was the Tampa Bay money line that I brought up. That game I liked Tampa Bay, their pitcher to dominate the White Sox, and that Chicago White Sox was using a strategy to combat Tampa, which was to put out Jordan Hicks, who I do think is a reputable opener. He did the job. Then I thought Tampa Bay would get after Noah Schultz. They did not. I said, don't bet the run line here. As much as we like Tampa Bay to win, I think it's a close matchup. I did not think it'd be this close. It was 1-0. What the hell? Junior Caminero, I bet with a free bet. I had free bonus bets. I said I didn't love, some things with it, but that I would use a free bonus bet. Didn't hit. So I only lost very little on his bases. I did also bet Chandler Simpson moving up in the lineup for 1.5 hits RBIs, and he only got one. We moved on to the Colorado game, and that one was interesting. I said that I predicted they're under 2 nights ago. I said this one is a way bigger, different look to me, that it could be all over the map. Well, it ended up being 12-6 Colorado. So I probably did underbet what I could have taken advantage of that game. I did mention that I hated Kansas City bats as a whole. They're cold, but that you had one of the most hittable pitchers on the Colorado side. So with that, I did put a home run on Jack Caglione, and he did come through. So I did hit that. And then I said that the Kansas City pitcher, he has shown signs of kind of suppressing power. Well, that didn't happen. He got rocked. So that's probably was my biggest misread. And of the Colorado bats, I predicted Mickey Moniak to be the one. And that one was really odd. They moved him from second down to sixth, sixth or seventh. And I guess they were correct to do so. So he only got one base, so I didn't hit my cover, nor did he hit the home run. And then, of course, I joked about how god awful the odds were that they give you on Hunter Goodman, and he hit 2 home runs. So there you have it. Again, I stand by like looking at odds, looking at what we think are the chance to happen. I brought up this young kid, Max Clark. I said, keep your eye on this young prospect. And he hits a home run last night. So hit that bet. And then I went huge on Detroit, right? That was literally my play of the day. And it ended up being close at the end, made you whatever. First off, you're into sports betting, and if you don't know that you're going to sweat every bet, then you're in the wrong place, right? We talk about sim percentages. And again, when we even think something looks amazing is what I called pot limit Omaha, which if you know much about that, even if you're ahead, you're at a 60 to 65% tops, expectation of that you've got a good play in mind. So, with that said, Detroit money line, I went huge on. They win 8-6, and I put a little cherry on top with another quarter unit on the run line, and they hit the run line too. So that was my biggest play. I did also, this is very funny too, on hindsight. If you watched my video yesterday, we joked that Kevin McGonigal was going to, his odds were awful. They had him so nerfed. And sometimes you just have to take your own reads on the scenario and maybe discount our EV to those if you think the expectation of him to be successful is even higher. And in truth, I passed on his bets. I did not bet anything Kevin McGonigal. He does hit a home run for the second night in a row, which was literally what I joked would happen, that I was passing on him. And he clearly hit all variations of support bets. I mean, if he went, I think he got on base at least 3 times. He's hitting the ball. He's seeing the ball great. Now, I will be talking about that game again later. I think tonight is an interesting one with that. And again, I'm probably going to exercise a lot of caution. I talked about Sunday baseball. So who was the one guy I picked out? I liked Dylan Dingler, and he was dog shit last night. He did get on base, maybe even twice, but I only went with a home run play, and because he was batting cleanup, an RBI play, he didn't get either. So in an 8-6 game, Dylan Dingler does not get one RBI is kind of frustrating. But the bottom line, 35% ROI, second big night of really well gains, strong gains there. Anyway, let's talk real quick about WNBA. There was a prop. There is another one of these boost out there. It was for, I think, FanDuel only. One of the nice things about Edgeboard is anytime you pick any specific sport, we're going to give you the slate. What do we think about overall? What do we see? What do we see with plus EV? Where do we think some props carry a favorable signal sack with, for example, Asia Wilson, Megan DeLeo, top values on the board? What do we see as good value? And then you can literally click right into this and go into that prop. So it's updating some things. One of the things that I did, and this talks about just betting strategies as a whole. When you use Edgeboard, the earlier you bet, the more susceptible you are to possible lineup changes, things like that, especially in Major League Baseball, when we're going into a day of a ton of Sunday day baseball. Weird things happen on Sundays in baseball. I have learned the hard way that what our site maybe doesn't necessarily calculate, rightfully so, is Sunday day weirdness. So I've just kind of learned that in general, Sundays, as you have to maybe lower your expectations on overs just a skosh. That's my opinion. The whole point of all this was WNBA. I had a prop bonus, so I was basically looking at some bets to make, and I found it interesting. I only made the FanDuel cap on their boost was only $10, and it just shows about lines moving and what they call CLV. So what I'll do is let's just look up the bet. I end up going with Anika Umgu. I can never say it. Umwukamike. One's Abula Mike. This Agumwake. Agumwake. That's it. I went with her 2.5 assists. I like what I saw there. Yeah, these two both confused. Like they're very similar in how you pronounce their name. I went with her assist prop and got it at 2.5, boosted to -109. That line has been nuked. So on literally a $10 bet, since I bet it, and again, what's the point of this? The point of it is to show where there are advantages in getting into a line early. So it's not showing the alt line on this, at least yet, probably not going to pop up. That now even an entire assist above this, 3.5 assists, has moved to -106. So that's how much money has moved to my pick. And so on one bet, I have a projected profit of 389, which on a $10, like that's kind of unheard of is the point, what I'm trying to say, that literally for a $10 bet, we talk about your actual expectation of profit should be about 3.5%. If you're at 5%, you're crushing it. That betting Vegas continuously over time is hard. And it's telling me I'm already projected to have a 39% ROI on one bet I've made on closing line value. So there's your advantage to getting bets in early. We post props for the next day, right? So even right now, if you're studying things, this was a bet I just hit the other day, was Jordan Canada assist. That's a perfect example. This is a game that's on Monday. So we put the date and time. That's the point of all this. Things to look at, things to study. I'm not betting, and I apologize. I should have did this before I hopped on. So I'm going to quickly hop on. Just make sure there's no other boost out there. I have not checked into my boost yet. So let's see here. We've got us a baseball reward that does not want to work. Perfect. Doesn't want to pop up. So let's hop back in, see if we can get it to work this time. All right, so we've got 225, 230% boost on MLB or 150%. I am going to go with 230% boost. Sunday night baseball, there's going to be some bonus bets if you bet that last game. So I don't see anything else WNBA related. So I don't think we're going to spend any more time in these streets. There is a 30% profit boost on the Boston Red Sox LA Dodgers game, which again is the Sunday night baseball game of the day. We've got a couple 30% baseball boosts. We have one on anything. I'm going to stick with probably baseball there. Is it on anything? Yeah. Maybe we'll look a little more WNBA for that. And then we're going to hop on over here. Sadly, the only people that give me bonus boost because I've won too much money is DraftKings and FanDuel. So DraftKings has a nice 50% boost on any bet, not just a same game parlay. Let's see what this bonus is here. So again, they're both wanting you to bet this Sunday night baseball game. So we'll do a little more deeper dive into that one. Place a pregame home run bet on any player. So it does not have to, pregame home run bet. And get $10 for every home run hit in the game. But I will tell you why I've hated this promo. And it's not, this is back to everyone's own personal budget and how they feel. They make you put $20 on that bet to get the bonus bets. And the last Sunday I did not pick it. And I don't think there was a single home run hit that game. So it was good to avoid it. Yeah, they've got a three-leg WNBA boost. I'm not going to play a single game parlay on the WNBA. I don't know enough about it. This week, I don't know if I told you I do this big league draw on on DraftKings, and last week I almost hit the actual 7 out of 7. This week I can't get guys to get a hit, and I mean I've made pretty decent picks. Wilson Contreras, Tyler Soderstrom, Gleyber Torres, and Wilson Contreras again. And none of them can get a hit. So we're not even going to mess with that at this point. We'll just wait till tomorrow. I'm 1 for 6 on these guys can't even get a single hit. So anyway, elite matchups. Let's see positive EV. Let's just go through the whole gamut of overs in WNBA. Does any props scream out to us? And this is for today. Ray Burrell. That's kind of an interesting one. I didn't know if I would not have predicted either of these, to be honest. Plum has been sidelined, obviously, probably their biggest star. So that is what is going on here. We're looking at a lot of usage tweaks because of this. Not a lot of history playing Portland. I mean, I'm not going to research this. If these are the two that are popping up when they're only at 60 and 50% hit, probably a hard pass. Why is this the only two popping up? Because it is, again, saying that they need to have some positive EV. There's probably a couple others that pop up that aren't necessarily showing positive EV. Asia Wilson to hit a 3, it likes. I mean, you probably could see a line out there that's better than that. Agumwike, who I just bet, the PRA we tend to like. I mean, again, it's 50-50. We like the matchup. So there you go. Let's just hop over here to favorable with positive EV. What do we see there? See anything that like just hits a ton, since there's a lot of these that pop up. Again, the bet I made has been moved off the board because the line moved. And this was another one I looked at for Anika. Again, I bet just her assist over 2.5. Got great closing line value on that. I did look at rebounds assist. I like that. I will say that overall, Arike Gumabale is, I think, a good bet. I did look at her as well. I mean, not only is she facing what I would consider a decent matchup, but on a hot streak, right? She's hit 70%, 7 out of 10, but she's hit 7 out of 7. So there's some looks there. Now, let's look at just clearing this out, and let's just see for the heck of it today. One of the things we also tend to have on our site, I wanted to kind of point this out. I wanted to see what this did for, if it popped up for WNBA at all. So it's not popping up at all. These are bets that we think, because of the line, that it's taking the bets matching the profile that have shown that it's performing best. You're not going to see hardly any bets ever pop up on this, but I thought that was worth checking out. See if there's anything peak over unders popping up here. No. Just want to make sure that wasn't glitching there. So nothing too crazy on any of that. We also have down here called Streak Watch. Streak Watch is interesting. It's similar to Prime Unders, except what it's saying are these are people. It took me right over to baseball, so it doesn't look like there's any WNBAs. So you know what? We'll get back to Streak Watch when we hit the WNBA streets, because it looks like it's pushing us straight over to. Oh, there we go. I don't know why that glitched like it did. So devs, if you watch this, maybe something to look at. I don't know why that took me over to baseball, but the Streak Watch basically is a combo platter of how they're hitting against the line. And so I think this is a pretty neat tool we've added. It's basically a who's hot, who's not. And so hot versus their line, Bridget Carlton, to give you an example, is here's where the line's been, here's how she's hit it. It's not just saying how she performs against that day's line is the point. In other words, how many times has she gone over 13 and a half? Well, she actually had 13 and 13. But what it's saying is as the line is moving compared to previous lines. So this one gets a little more in depth, right? The line is moving higher on her, but whatever the line is being set at, she's exceeding the expectation. So that's where that comes into play. And I think what you try to do there is you're really looking for who's a hot player, like who's just hotter than Vegas thought they were hot. And that's where we're coming out with this, this look. And I think what you try to do then is say, okay, if we've got someone who's hot of late, then on top of it, we think it's a good matchup, then this would be someone we think you should possibly focus on. So again, look at her last lines against the line today, which is 13 and a half. She hasn't hit this in 10 out of 10. But whatever the line was that we set for her when there has been a line, she actually has exceeded it. So that's the difference of a Streak Watch versus just historical. It's very important you kind of keep your eye on that. I think my personal goal when I look at Streak Watch is you really got to take it into context, because Vegas is adjusting the line based on someone who's hot. So you really got to look at it as to what's the variance of the line from where this all started. Something like this, what I really like to see is, can we count on this at maybe plus money? I definitely only want to bet these if I think it's a plus expected valuation bet. And I definitely only want to do this if I think it's a favorable matchup. So in this case, I think based on what I'm seeing, based on how Bridget Carlton's basically what we're seeing here is someone who's clearly taking on a bigger role. LA, bottom 5 defense, top 25 offense. So this is where I'd say this is a great chance to take advantage of either the points prop or the points rebound. So, what we do today is I don't necessarily think I bet it. And why don't I bet it? Truthfully, if I'm going to use a boost, like I just don't watch WNBA. I'd be lying to tell you I am anything close to an expert. Do I see any recent head to head versus LA? Again, she's taken on a recent increased role. She's only played them once, and her role clearly was not as big on that. She hit this line. In other words, she exceeded the line. So that's what's really important about this is you really have to understand this prop and not get confused. She has not hit 9 straight over 17 and a half. She has hit 9 straight over whatever the line was at the time of the prop, which we only go so far back on the line. So this is the first time they've boosted her line. She's hit this line 5 straight times, 16 and a half, 16 and a half, 15 and a half. Now it's 17 and a half. So this is the first time that Vegas is like, all right, fine, we have to adjust. That's really important. Maybe that's something we should take as we study this more is, okay, well, now do I bet this because Vegas is accounting for this more? Maybe what we want to see is, can we pick it when they haven't moved her lineup, right? So they just now have moved her lineup. Well, that's not true. So the line was moved to 13 and a half for her August 1st, and she still crushed it. I love this. Again, we offer so many things here on this site. So clearly this is the first time we're going with this points rebounds version, but they have set this 13 and a half. She's hit it 100 straight. She's clearly had an increased role on this team. And it matches up. I have to admit, I am a little confused because I could have swore I just saw, so bottom 5 in defense. I'm going to ask my dev on this because I'm curious why top 25 in pace. So I want to talk about grading, and I want to get a little more knowledge into what our site's doing on pace. Pace says top 25%, but it's red. Is that correct for WNBA? Because I would say that if versus LA this season, it's been high pace, and versus this lineup, bottom 10%, top 25%. You know what we're going to do here? We're just going to have a little fun with this. We're going to have us a little fun. We like this as a bet. It's positive EV. We had a 30% any bet. So let's just see what the odds are specifically on. Let's see what the bet is specifically on her on FanDuel. 13 and a half points. You can get her at minus 106 on DraftKings. FanDuel minus 110. So they think this is an even money play. 2 rewards available. We're going to use our 30% boost to get plus money on this. Because again, I've got plenty of baseball boost out there. And we're just going to go ahead and stick a half unit on this. We're going to stick a half unit on this because everything tells me now my dev is going to get mad at me because I think he told me somewhere that we were seeing some minutes usage. I'd love to know what her minutes have looked like. Clearly minutes have come into play. Clearly minutes have come into play, and some things have changed in Bridget Carlton's life. She's heating up. Yes, she is. So this is an interesting play. Bridget Carlton stats. So interesting. I mean, she's shown pretty strong minutes throughout the year. She's clearly a starter, 30.4 minutes, but definitely increased shot attempts, definitely increased offensive usage. She's doing a little everything. She only had 3 boards last game. So that's, again, where I'm a little hesitant on the points and rebounds. While she hit it what I do see here is kind of all over the map on the rebound. So I think that we look at this and we're going to go with this the points line here. We're going to boost it. We're not going to go crazy, which isn't the best use of the boost, because this is a boost I could go like this is the boost I used on Detroit last night, that I went with an over a unit play. And this time we're only going to boost a half a unit. But why are we doing this again? Because I mentioned that Sunday day baseball scares me. So we're not going to go in heavy. Now, look, let's scoot all the way down, by the way. Unders. So when you look at this prop, the point of this prop, who's on fire, who's not, it also talks about who's not. So what it's saying here is that on her under of 4.5, 9 of the last 10 games, whatever that line was set at, she has not hit it. And so that one to me is, again, what's important to remember is this is what she's done against the line, not how much is she going to hit 4.5. So the line has moved. Maybe at one point the line was 5.5. I will admit, now that I'm looking at it, so it's kind of going backwards. It's saying that 4.5 here to me looks like her most recent, but she actually did hit 5 on 7/22. So she's not hit in the last 4. She hit in the game prior to that. So this looks a little backwards, how I think I would prefer to have this maybe correlate with this. And then she didn't hit the previous games of that. So Courtney Williams is struggling here to get the boards that Vegas thinks she should get. And why do I think I like that bet also is Nafisa Collier's back. She gets the boards. What do we want to look at here again? I mean, I have to admit, this kind of intrigues me when I look at this and I notice that they haven't moved the line. So what do we think about tonight? She's going against an Indiana team that is not shown they've been great defense. I think what I would prefer to see, career versus Indiana 4.9. So she has had a relatively decent history. So when did they play last? So this is going way back. We're not using any of this. This is back from 2024. So I'm not going to use that. Opponent's offensive rebound allowed does seem high. Okay. No, I'm looking at this wrong. So this is where I got to study this more. This is green because it's saying that Indiana locks the glass. Another reason to like this. So we have a +3 favorable matchup for this to go on the under. And what it's talking about here is 70% of the line. So that's the difference between the line set. She's gone under at 9 of 10 of whatever the line was set. She's gone 7 out of 10 if the line was 4.5 as a whole. So maybe that line did get moved up at some point. I think really what I want to look at. Okay, so this is interesting. The line moved from 5.5 back down to 4.5. Man, I would have liked that. I would have liked that. You get me her under 5.5. Courtney Williams stats. What is she doing? So, here's, I think, where this tells a bit of a picture. Let's talk about where this tells a bit of a picture. Courtney Williams was getting, this is what I think is called, this is not me being an expert, but I think this is called the Nafisa Collier factor. So we go back to July 8th through July 20th. 30, 36, 35, 35, 32, 33 minutes, right? And I know because I've been betting and talking about the Kayla McBride being affected by Nafisa Collier effect, that some of Kayla McBride's usage has come down. Olivia Miles isn't going anywhere, but here's your top 3, right? And so the point of this is, since Nafisa's back, 20 minutes, 19 minutes, 26 minutes, 25 minutes. So how much time she's getting on the floor is being dramatically reduced. And then, interesting enough, even in games where she got 35 and 32 minutes right before Nafisa got back, 2 rebounds, 2 rebounds. Last 7 games, I guess, 2-2-4, 5-1, 4-3, lines minus 4.5. Now, I have to admit, I don't have a boost available to me here. I just used up anything that would be a WNBA boost. So this line is starting to get nerfed. And I don't know why, but our EV is not showing up on that one. Right? We showed EV on this one, I believe. I thought we did. So I don't know if this is because lines are getting updated or not. But what we're going to do, we're going to go one more spot here. We're going to hop down and look at Courtney Williams under. I like this because I think it's a close game. And that's the other thing that makes me like an under for a bench player, to be clear, is what's going on here? This mouse glitches sometimes that I use. So we do show this as some positive EV. What's the point of why I want to look at blowout potential? So this is pretty low. I'll be honest, in WNBA, I think I see this in the 40s a lot. I think this is a close game. I think Courtney Williams' role is being reduced, clearly. The line, actually, the line that's being touted for you to use now is plus money on under 3.5. The line has moved for the worse, minus 150, minus 152. Ugh. So it is moving for the worse. You know what we're going to do, just because we spent some time on this? I'd like to just look at this, is we're literally just putting a sprinkle to win very little. We'll put a third unit on it. A third bet to win a quarter, basically, is what that is. So I'm never a huge fan of this. And I could see her going on the under 3.5. But that is much more, and we're not showing the alt line here. We're showing this as positive EV based on minus 144. It's barely positive EV. This probably isn't that smart of a bet. But really the point of this is I'm just trying to highlight different parts of our software and how to use this software. And that was that. So there we go. There's some WNBA for you today. While we're on the under streets, I guess, again, I think I already did this, but is there just any? Yeah, there's nothing that screams out there as a line that's just mispriced on any unders. You know what I probably should do? I just pointed out one of our most positive categories. So WNBA points, rebounds, assists, positive EV, elite matchups. So this is the one that's been hitting pretty consistently of late. So this, I think, is more just for a watch. I'd like to see what they end up doing. I am curious because, again, these are ladies only hitting this at 50% and 60 and 50. Now, again, this is the Kelsey Plum effect being out 1,000%. That's what this is. If you were to say Kelsey Plum is in today, which I don't even know if she is, it talks about I'm having a hard time getting this to work, so I might talk to my dev on this. This should show, it could be because she's truly out, already announced out, that's confusing it, but that's where you can change people as to, there we go. So when Kelsey Plum's out, this has been the result. Kelsey Plum in, it just took a little bit for this data. So, this is just another tool to use. Let's say you're not sure if Kelsey Plum is playing or not. Well, this is saying here's the last time they played together, June 21st. So look at this line historically when Kelsey Plum is in. Look at this line when she's out. So that's what's at play here. My assumption is that we know that she's out. So that's something, another part of tools we're just using. So, this is worth saying this has been a good category. Kelsey Plum's out. Am I betting Ray Burrell or Ariel Atkins? I am not. But I am going to go ahead and write this down just because I'm going to like to see, especially when they're only hitting this 60 and 50, that the sims are what they are. It's certainly taking some things into effect. They're both plus EV plays. These are categories that have been hot for the site and how it's analyzing. So 20.5 and 17.5 PRA each. I might just come back to do a little, review on that to see if it continues to stay hot. So this is, again, what's the point of this Sunday stream is just to highlight again some of the things that are out there for you in these streets, looking at everything that we have to offer. So we're going to swing on over to Major League Baseball now. I went off of this, so we're going to bring this back up now that we're in it. This brings up our slate for today. And big slate. Heat is the headline, 100 degrees. Heat, Detroit at Oakland, definitely our two ballparks. So not only are these your two ballparks, again, the three top ballparks in baseball, Coors Field, Stadium, Cincinnati's greatest American small park. One of the guys uses Detroit at Oakland. So what do we see here? Just kind of going back over some of the things that we look for in this. Washington at Atlanta is warm. We are simming the over here. I will say that these are both decent pitchers. At least we think. The one is the Richie guy is kind of an X factor. So I think we're showing this a little more leaky than I do. So maybe we will take a little more look. The problem I have is that this Richie kid who's pitching for Atlanta is coming off of like some very strong AAA outings. So he has not pitched in the major leagues in a while. I'm going to avoid this game just because there's weather all over the place. And I think both of these are pretty decent pitchers. St. Louis, Toronto, I think is interesting. The roof's closed. I do think these are leaky pitchers. I mean, look at this for both of these guys. So I think we're going to look at some things here, but the problem is these offenses are anemic. So we're still even simming the under on that game. Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. It's cooler. It's rainy. Decent pitchers. I think we avoid that game. Arizona at Cleveland. Cool storms. I just have avoided. Miami at New York Mets. Alcantara has been decent. This stock thing is a really weird story. I had to look this guy up. This guy apparently went from being a high school phenom to becoming a catcher in the major leagues eventually, to getting very much hurt, to he's in his 30s and he's coming from the minors to pitch, but that he's actually been decent in the minors. So I do think that we should look at right-handed or left-handed Miami bats against this guy, or just elite in general. Because we are showing, now again, this says 16 out to center. I'm not showing that. I show a mile, or hold on, I'm on the wrong game. out to left or possibly left center. So actually, yeah, I mean, this might be one to look at. I don't love the Mets Stadium, but this one has some interest that maybe we should look at. Um, from there, I mean, I'll be honest, there's a lot of games. There's really only two games that just have some very bizarre stuff going on. This is the KC Colorado craziness. The over-under's 12. And I would consider these, hittable pitchers. The other one, a crazy one, is, again, this is saying 15 mile per hour crosswind. I'm seeing 20 mile per hour winds coming in again with another 6.5 over under is absolutely crazy to me. So I do think that I'd love to see our site probably see if we can start to figure out a second weather source to really dig into weather. Because I have to tell you, there's times I do weather searches too, and there's so much conflicting data out there. If it's 20 mile per hour in again, like forget about it. And then, of course, this other crazy one, right? 98 degrees, but it's not showing the pitching matchup for some reason. This one's like, it's very interesting because, again, we've had days of saying go for it. But this thing, if anything, this pitcher for Oakland, Gage Jump, has probably been their best pitcher. I mean, he still has a losing record, but that's just because of Oakland this year. His last few outings were great, where Kiter Montero had two good outings, but his last outing, he got rocked by Baltimore, which, again, they haven't been impressive. So that's kind of where we're at. I don't want to spend, I made it, yesterday's stream was 3 hours. This one's already taking longer than I want. I think we really want to just go into this, see what's on our board, see what's out there. Again, if anything, I'm a little hesitant to go absolutely ham. So we're on MLB. We're in the MLB streets. And what we're going to do is just see right off the bat too, what do we see for team lines? I want to just see what our site feels after I looked at some of this stuff. Let's look at the money lines. So right off the bat, we've got the Miz versus LA factor. That one, I can tell you right now that I'm sure that the line's crazy, but LA, man, if you want to talk about a matchup, Miz versus LA, like the strikeouts could, like the over under might be 11. We'll have to look what the K. See, the problem is they've been limiting Miz lately on how many innings he pitches. So we need to just avoid that. But he could strike out easily 10 batters in 4 innings or 5. He could get 2 strikeouts an inning. It could be that crazy. There wasn't. Kumar Rocker's been serviceable. I kind of this to me just looks like decent pitcher matchups that I kind of wanted to avoid. I definitely don't think I want to bet against Anthony Kay. He's been good. Do you really want to bet Emmett Sheehan over Jake Bennett? Probably not. This game looks like rain. This is, to me, your most clear dominant matchup, Gavin Williams versus Merrill Kelly. So, I mean, we are seeing some strong thoughts here, but are we seeing huge EV? I mean, not really. This game, like, who's scoring runs? I don't hate this. That one's getting good with the plus money. I don't hate this. Washington's trying to avoid getting swept. Washington plus money. They let me down last time. This unknown J.R. Ritchie factor, that's the one that's kind of interesting. I mean, getting plus 158 with this pitching matchup. Boston's already won 2 out of 3. That one's interesting. This one, I mean, look, Detroit is favored at Oakland at minus 110. Where I've been huge on Detroit, I don't know if I'm huge on Detroit this time. And there's no way I'm betting Los Angeles anything. I don't care if it's plus 185 against this matchup. So yeah, I mean, look, I hate to say this, folks. There's nothing that screams to me this is the move on today's matchups when I looked at this. Going back to just plus EV here, this one might be the one that, I have some interest in general, just like obviously not at minus 196, but I could see this being a very low scoring close game. I'm not touching anything that has to do with Matthew Libator. I mean, none of this is positive EV. These are all dogs getting a run. So I'm not seeing anything there that tells me this. So what's the moral of the story today right now is like nothing jumps off. If anything, I talked to you about Sundays can sometimes be a letdown day. I mean, this one is the interesting game. Again, we talk about Kansas City bats disappoint me at times. Colorado bats disappoint me at times. But it's 100-degree temperature. There's no wind. And these pitchers are not good, right? They're just not. So could this go over 12? Yeah. Right. Yeah, it could. Do I want to bet over 6.5 runs? I think this is our software misrating that it's a 20-mile-per-hour wind coming in. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. This is this weird J.R. Ritchie effect. So what is all this just telling me? Like, there's nothing. This one, like, no, I'm not betting an over with the conditions. This one is just, again, bad conditions, 2 good pitchers. Why am I betting over 8? Not really. Not in love with it. This one I could see being very low scoring. And now we're not even really showing positive EV. Maybe of all the bets I saw, this one is the one that maybe I think I kind of am in agreement with. Like, it's this AAA ballpark in crazy hot temperature, but I don't necessarily know if this is the one where these guys smash. So I kind of agree with our software on that. That stands out to me. So I hate to say it. What is today telling me? I think I went into Sunday just because I have not had a winning Sunday in baseball in the last several. And so Sunday, again, ton of day baseball. It just doesn't tell me that I want to be in love with it. I think my stress to you today is there's no harm. Even yesterday, we had a great ROI percentage day over the last 2 days. To have the ROI that I've had is you should never be upset on it. So even when I say, yeah, I left some money on the table, there was some money to be made. Did I lose sleep over that, or was I happy I won money? I think where you lose money or lose sleep is when you overbet and you got greedy. That's my opinion. So I think that we're just going to look at what's out there in general and make some decisions from there. Do I like 1.5 strikeouts when he's only done it 20% of the time? No, especially against Amit Sheehan. Do I like Jake Bowers over 1.5 against Walbert Urena? So the Walbert Urena one, I mean, this again goes back to, 239, his main pitch. Is he great? No. But is he decent? Yes. We're not showing any specific data. Is Jake Bowers hot? Yes. Am I going to bet this? No. I'm not going to hate you for betting that, but we're simming this at only 40%. Am I going to bet left on left Max Clark versus Gage Jump? No. Is this kid a cool story? Did I bring him up yesterday? Absolutely. Did he strike out his first 2 at bats and I got a little nervous? Absolutely. Do I think this kid's going to hit a home run today? No. Do I like plus 550? Sure. So what am I again? I'm just kind of back to nothing here screams to me. Do I like it? I should have looked at this one. Actually, let's go back and look at one. So I did have one lean. Sandy Alcantara has been kind of one of Miami's, main guys. This guy gets a favorable matchup against the Mets. The weather might be favorable. Man, we got it. This thing just trying to update. This is my own fault. I asked the devs because I think I've shown you how I want our odds to show up more frequently, but hoping that our lines would be more consistent, but it's not improving the lines and how accurate they are. We're still consistently conservative. So I need this odds update. It's like the OCD me. This is driving me crazy. We need this odds update to go back to where it was. Back to original. Because, yeah, it constantly pops up. And while it's not a horrible thing, it's not really adjusting the numbers enough for me to think that it's worth it. What's the point of this? They've got a workhorse in this guy. 21, 21, 18, 21, 24. If this is 17 and a half, I bet this in a heartbeat. I don't see an alt line popping up for this. I'm going to, you know what, just for the heck of it, I'm curious how much the swing is. Because if we're getting plus money on this, is there a 17 and a half line? They're not even offering it. Yeah, I'm not going to go over 6 innings. You know, again, recorded outs for him to go 6 innings, 17 and a half, even if it was a big shift from plus money to minus money, I bet that all day long. But to say he's coming out in the 7th inning, you know, that gets a little more risky to me, even though I like the matchup. Why am I maybe against it? Because it is a little bit favorable weather conditions today there. That is just that one factor. So am I betting any of these? Nope. I'm just not. Anything that screams the under section of this, very rare that it does. But we are giving some plus EV to some of this. So let's just see who we like on that. So guys not to get a hit. Lefty on lefty, Kyle Tucker against Jake Bennett, Sunday Night Baseball. That might be a decent under. When I told you guys about Sunday shenanigans and why I look at some unders on Sunday, it's more about day game shenanigans. The one game where teams really still try to look good is Sunday Night Baseball. So this is the Sunday Night Baseball game. I'm probably going to avoid it. Altuve, righty on righty. He's going to play. You are getting plus money. We are seeing it's under a 45% chance to hit. So I tend to avoid these. I will tell you, one of the coldest players in baseball right now is Colson Montgomery. He looks like dog shit. If you're getting plus money against Griffin Jacks, who is, I think, a pretty decent pitcher, his weighted average against him is 139. I think that he's going to be in the starting lineup. Like, I don't think that I see them pulling him out. You know, I actually kind of like this under. You know, we're looking 50-50 with plus money on a terrible matchup. You know, in his last 5 games, he's gotten 1 hit. He had 1 good game. So he's definitely been struggling. So Colson Montgomery unders. His under 1.5 hit run RBI. Sometimes I like to see that in case it looks like it's pretty close. It's minus 150. So we avoid that. So this truly is the scenario of, is he going to get a hit or not? And we're showing plus 108. I never bet these unders big. This is literally sprinkle plays where I'm just trying to find 50-50 with plus money. And this is close enough to 50-50 that I actually don't have a problem with this bet. So we're getting plus 108 on this under. I'm not boosting this. This is a sprinkle play. We're looking at matchups that we like. Gavin Sheets, he's only at 60%. Even though we give this over 50%, I'm not in love with this lefty on righty. I mean, he's bat 250 against Landon Marap, so he's gotten a hit, right? So the chance he can get a hit's probably there. Andy Page's righty on lefty, Sunday Night Baseball, no. Tommy Edman, no. Switch hitter, kid's got moxie. Has he missed this 70% of the time? This one I think I kind of like. I think Leody Tavares is dog shit. 55% chance he doesn't hit this. Okay. 1 for 3. So he hits a sinker pretty good. Maybe I don't know. My recent form of this guy has been pretty bad. And Zach Wheeler's pretty good. 70%. 1 hit off 1 hit. They announced this lineup yet? They've announced a ton of lineups. It's one of the first games of the day. Yeah, they've moved Leody Tavares down to 7th in the batting order. They have promoted. This is interesting. The other day, I don't know if you recall, as we studied baseball, we talked about Jackson Holliday taking over Leody Tavares, and they have done that. They moved Jackson Holliday to 5th. Hot bat versus cold bat. I mean, look, these are the kind of bets. Here's, I think, the way you want to look at this. Could Leody Tavares get a hit, and could my other bet get a hit? I mean, we're talking about you're in Major League Baseball, and all that we're asking you to do is get a single hit, right? Plus 110 on sportsassholes.bet, the score.bet. Plus, and it goes down to plus 100 on these other sites. I think it's really important that you are, while the spread's not big here, I think it's pretty important that you do take advantage of every bit of positive EV you can get when you're talking about making this kind of bet. And so these are sprinkle plays. I don't think you should ever bet the house on these type of plays. I got to be honest with you. But is it a sprinkle play? Yeah, I'm cool with the sprinkle play here. So we're just going to sprinkle little bits. And that, yes, this is a tough pitcher, a struggling batter, and I'm getting plus 110. That's what helps make me feel good that these, you don't lose sleep when the guy gets a hit. What you're saying is, do I feel strongly this isn't happening? No. But are we hoping Leody got a couple beers in him last night and he's a little hungover? Yeah, maybe, right? So there's our bet there. Colson Cowser, by the way, this is another thing I want to mention too, and this is where this is lefty on righty. And we're going to just look this up. The other thing you want to look at, especially when you're betting unders on things like this, is could this guy get yanked early? Is this a play where Colson Cowser's only getting the lefty-righty matchup, and that when they switch pitchers, they are going to swash him out? And I think the answer is yes. But am I going to touch this? No. He's faced Zach Wheeler twice, and he's 2 for 2. And he actually hits his average relatively decent, 256. So, yeah, we're going to pass on that one. So there's some unders that were under this. Now we're going to go back to overs, but we're going to get rid of the last game hit version. For under, if you got to hit the last game, I don't even want to touch you, period. I just don't even want to touch you. We already talked about Jake Bauers, Jake Bauers to get bases or a single. I don't hate this, but the sim props aren't huge. I mean, look, this is one, I don't have a problem with you making that bet. I'm probably just avoiding this bet because of weather. It is righty on righty. I mean, it does look like a good matchup. Jesus Christ, he does hit him well. Where do they have a lot of lineups already getting released as we speak? I wonder if this game even plays. They have moved Dane Myers up to 6, which is interesting. He was usually buried. He's definitely a slap hitter. He's not a power hitter. These are singles. These aren't just hits. These are singles. And when I see that he's gotten 2 singles 2 of the games, all right, maybe I should reconsider this. This is, again, just a sprinkle play. That's all we're doing here today. We're making some sprinkle plays. We're not betting the house on any of this. This is us just saying that we're trying to take advantage of 50-50 matchups at plus money. And that's what we show this as, 50-50 matchups at plus money. Could you use boost on this? I don't advise it, because why put a boost on something that I don't want to bet a lot on, especially when these are some of those unlimited boosts. So I'm literally just sprinkling quarter unit, third unit type plays on these things, like literally treating these like I would bet a home run, if that makes sense. But we're just putting in a couple plays here. All right, look at here. It's my buddy, Austin Riley, righty on righty against Kay Cavalli. Cavalli's not as big of a strikeout pitcher. They've got Austin Riley. Oh, tough times for this guy. Here's why I'm not going to bet this today. I'm not going to bet this today. The other day we hit on him. It was over 200 odds. Plus 182 is much reduced odds. But he's so bad. They sat him a couple games recently, and now they got him down to 8th in the lineup. And I'm starting to wonder if they're like, if we're to the point where they just tell this guy to sit. And he didn't do it last game. If that was over 200, I might look at it. Will your ability to strike out against Emmett Sheehan? No. Not interested. I mean, we're already saying that Leody Tavares sucks. We're already betting his under to get a hit. Should I have played this as a parlay? I mean, he struck out in 2 at-bats. He got a hit, which again isn't great. And the other at-bat, he struck out. I mean, I would like this more if I've seen him at least strike out once more often. And again, they're burying him in the lineup. He is a switch hitter, so I don't think he comes out of the game. I think they always play him pretty heavily. Let's just see in case the odds are even better than what this is showing. I don't hate this bet, again, because I also know that Zach Wheeler can throw strikeouts. Is this over betting Leody Tavares to really suck? Probably. It's more than we should. Yeah, I mean, it's exactly plus 210. So what are we going to... We're doing the same thing here. We're putting quarter unit sprinkles out there that we're hoping Leody tied one on last night. That's basically the theme of this, is Sunday night baseball shenanigans. It's literally the first game of the entire slate. So we're going to know right off the bat, first game out, did we do something stupid there? Again, total bases, don't hate. Talking, okay. Now this one, I'm sure this lineup isn't announced yet. I think this is a typical West Coast game that's later, but I noticed that Mizrowski strikeouts aren't popping up. I mean, I don't think they ever sit Joe Adele. I really don't. But man, does this guy love to strike out. I mean, this guy's hit 2 strikeouts, 1, 2, a strikeout, 1, 2, 3. Like, man, does this guy love to strike out. This is an interleague matchup, so he's never seen Mizrowski. Now, the interesting thing is this guy is a fastball hitter. Well, let's be clear. He's I don't hit anything, and I think this guy sucks, with occasional power. That's what this guy is. But I don't care if you can hit a 4-seam fastball. Are you hitting Mizrowski's 4-seam fastball? Look at the plus 167 on 2 strikeouts. That's such dog shit odds for 2 strikeouts. It's like minus 300 for 1 strikeout, I'm sure. That's how sure we are he's striking out once. That's the variance. Minus 394 for 1 strikeout. Plus 167 for 2 strikeouts. I'm playing this for a 5th. This is literally just because it's plus money, and we're trying to just add a little bit. So The odds are really not great here, but that's funny at plus 167. That might be the lowest over 2 strikeout prop I've ever bet. But that is called Mizrowski Strikeout King against Joe Adell. And let's not forget, they can have Mizrowski on a pitch count and pull him out in 5 innings. And that doesn't mean your strikeout prop for Joe Adell has not gone away, right? It's very possible. Zach Wheeler to get strikeouts against Baltimore. I don't hate this. The lowest line available, apparently. Oh, so it is an alt line, maybe. I don't know. 6.5 is nuked. Elite K rate against a team that I believe chases average discipline. All right. Again, the weird thing that's going on is a lot of teams I've seen of late are kind of limiting their pitchers a little bit. I don't hate that bet. I'm not going to make the bet. I don't hate it. I don't like Emmett Sheehan strikeouts, even though that's a low number. And I told you I loved this bet if it was 17. If there was I would bet this 17.5 at minus 150 versus 18.5 at plus money. And I know that goes against what I would consider the expected value bet. But in that scenario, it does, because there is such a difference between how teams now pull pitchers at beginning and end of innings. It's the whole transformation of baseball, and how they've done that. So anywho, what did that all show you? Like, honestly, again, I'm just kind of limiting. Yeah, we're just getting off of this. We're kind of limiting our Sunday play here today. So what are we going to do from there? I mean, let's go down the line and let's just see. I really just want to pick out a few things. Just very few things. So we did like the over of this Atlanta Washington game. None of these people showed up under elite matchups. I can tell you who's hot right now is Olsen. Olsen is hot. So do we expect J.R. Ritchie to get rocked? Yes. But what is the weird thing going on here? Who stands out? Why do we love the over of this? Nobody came up on elite. Nobody's popping up on favorable. Interesting. So let's just go with a couple of players. I just guess I want to realize. I'd love to know why they're not popping up. So Matt Olson's been very hot. I want to say, tracking him, that I've seen home runs 2 games in a row, maybe 2 of 3, 2 games in a row. K Cavalli, I mean, serviceable pitcher, elite FIP, decent whip, not amazing weather, hits him pretty well. 259 against righties, 256 average, 3 of 4 home runs. Interesting, right? Batting third. The lineup for Atlanta, with Acuna being added in, really has kind of picked it up a notch. They've taken 2 of 2 against Washington. You got Baldwin leading off, Acuna second, Olsen third. Harris remains in a funk, which is interesting. Of all the offense Atlanta provided yesterday, he again did nothing. So we're avoiding him. Albies switch hitting Dubon. I mean, that's 6 batters in a row that you don't necessarily take a breath against any of them. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that we only give them a 40% chance of an RBI and we don't like it as plus money. If he's really only minus 114 for a hit run RBI, even with Cavalli, I think that might just be where I put in my play. Yeah. Minus 115 for a hit run RBI for Matt Olson. There was a time I was batting Matt Olson. I was picking Matt Olson every day. Then he went really cold, and he seems to have gotten out of that, and now he's back to Matt Olson. So we're going to go ahead and use a profit boost. We're going to make this plus 114. Let's see what kind of max. This is again the classic, and everyone's different what FanDuel does. They're limiting me to this as a half unit play. So we're going to get Matt Olson at definitely good EV based on what I see this game, based on what I'm seeing from Atlanta. Now, is K. Cavalli a better pitcher than Miles Michaelis? Yeah. We're going to go ahead and just go. We're going to, again, this is the Sunday shenanigans, man. This is, again, a 12:35 Central start time, 1:35 for these guys. Matt, did you drink last night or not, buddy? The Sunday variants exist. Trust me on this, guys. Sunday variance is a thing. I'm just telling you, it is. He's plus 416. So again, this is why I want our odds to stop updating. We're just our data source. If you guys join our site, we build our user base. We're going to add some more data sourcing that gets more accurate odds. I don't know why this is reading this in, but it's giving us plus EV for this to hit at plus 333, and he's actually at plus 416. And I still have some limited bonus bets left on FanDuel plus 400. I think I'm going to save my FanDuel bonus bet. Or do I? You know what? The variance is there, so we're just going to take the 400 because I'm making it a free bet. There we go. So I am going to put a play on Olson. I feel like I've been on the sideline too much of him lately. And this guy is an elite player that is back out of his funk. And so I do like the home run. I do like the HRR. I don't care if we show this at not that EV. First of all, I swung that part of the equation out of it. And it's an over 50% prop that I have at plus money. Again, this is how you use boost to your advantage. Do I like him for a run? 100%. 100%. I like him for a run. Do I like him for almost all of this? Honestly, I do. I mean, it's almost the point. If he's truly getting plus money to score a run with that Atlanta offense where it's at right now, I might, especially since the home run play is a free play, then maybe we take a little more risk. Yeah, we're getting plus money. We're getting plus 110 on the score. We're getting plus 105 on DK and FanDuel. And why are we getting this? Again, is probably because they know that I'm dumb betting overs on Sunday. Jesus. Why do I see myself doing this again? So this is a sprinkle play. This goes back to what are these plays you're seeing me make a lot of is when we think we're 50-50 to happen, but you're giving me plus money. Do you guys see the theme here? This is just a very basic strategy for betting. 50-50 events. I'm betting 50-50 events, but I'm getting plus money. It's taking the Vegas juice out of the equation. If you're giving me 50-50 simmed events at plus money, then we can go 5-5. And what do we do? We made money. That's all we're doing here. We're doing a bunch of sprinkle plays that I'm not betting the house on any of this. These are all small plays that are 50% sim to occur at plus money. And why are we doing that? That, yes, is this a mixed bag? Is Cavalli a better pitcher? Has he hit Cavalli? Yes. Limited sample size? Yes. Is their pen well rested and a decently hard pen? Yes. So this is where this all comes into why it's a mixed bag. Okay. And that's why we're only going to go with Olsen because of his hot factor. Now, the other side of this is like very confusing to me on this game is why are we giving J.R. Ritchie no favorable matchups? Now, I will say that this is that weird X factor. So again, I'm not over betting these Washington players. Clearly, there's something that this kid's doing well. James Wood has been cold as ice, and they continue to nuke his odds as if he's good. So why are we saying unfavorable matchup? Well, it's probably that our site actually thinks this kid is pretty damn good in his, and this I think could be where the analysis could be off, right? If he's that good, why has he been in AAA this long? And by the way, they sent him back to AAA. His pitch type, he doesn't hit. He's in a funk. We're going to avoid Wood. But I think this is the answer why none of these Washington players are showing up. And I do think this is variance. I think this is Sunday day baseball. So this is one where you got to use your own taste for risk and make your own personal decision. What it's telling me is that we think that this guy could be good. And with that said, he throws a lot of pitches. I think that this is one where it's like, okay, yeah, Atlanta shuts down. This kid's the real deal. Atlanta has a good bullpen, number 4 ranked bullpen. So even if the kid's terrible, I'm just confused. If I'm going to bet anybody, right, we've already shown 2 players that I think are good players. By the way, these were both lefty on righty matchups. So who's the one guy who's made me more money than probably anybody in the league this year? CJ Abrams. So do I take an extra hard look at this just to make sure that we're not overplaying that this kid's good? Okay, do we take an extra hard look at this? Because what's the +3 -4 combo package here? Well, the combo package is that we're giving this young pitcher an extremely high rating, and we're giving their pen a high rating. He's already hit a home run off this guy. Right? I mean, sorry. Versus him, versus right-handed pitchers, he's batting over 300. Versus this kid's pitch type, weighted average 286. With the only pitch he's struggling against is his changeup. Now, the changeup is such an interesting pitch. As I've studied baseball, the Cardinals young kid started yesterday, and I watched Eric from Stochastic again. You'll see me at times knock Eric from Stochastic. There was one in particular, by the way. He went on and on about Francisco Lindor yesterday. He deep dived on Francisco Lindor just like I did. And we said both, he's on a heater. And I showed where his batting average is. But Eric put money on him to hit a home run. And my data showed that he's not a power hitter from that side of the plate, if you guys recall. So again, do you want to pay premium money for their odd shopper who said bet on Francisco Lindor home run? I said, you know what? Let's just hold off. He got 2 hits. He remains hot. He's batting for average. We should probably look at that this game. But did he hit a home run? No. He made 2 home run plays yesterday from that game, and he went 0 for 2. I made no home run plays. Look, CJ Abrams has made me a ton of money, especially if we're off again on this home run, which, you know, that would not shock me. That would not shock me. Plus 400 on Fanatics and the score.bet, plus 377 on DK, plus 370. So we got 2 sites I can get plus 400. I'm going to go ahead and get my plus 400 CJ Abrams. And then what we're going to do here is the other reason why I like this a lot is I see a good bet to back it up. Oh, look at, by the way, again, sites that suck. Score.bet sucks. We only use them when it stands out. Fanatics, these people are the worst. Boy, I swear to God, I get on their site and they will nuke a line in front of me so many times it'll make your head spin. Literally, I log on and it goes from 400 to 350 as I log on. These are like your ultimate bait and switch dudes. I'm telling you right now, that's the Fanatics thing. They move lines that'll make your head spin. I'm just letting you know. The rumor is that CJ Abrams, by the way, might be getting traded. That he's on the trade block, which would be just crazy if Washington got rid of CJ Abrams. Like, that can't be true. But while the score has lots of reasons they suck, they don't move lines near as fast. And his bet is still plus 400. And I'll take 400, even if my guy did get hung over and we are going to have some. So, I mean, anytime you're giving me these type of odds on Olsen and Abrams, both lefty, in a park that has good lefty power, I like that. But why are we going to bet this is I'm actually pretty interested in this. And if this still exists, that you're giving me that type of line on HRR for CJ Abrams, then yeah. BetMGM minus 115. Tell me that's still there. And then we're going to use that as our protection bet against the wasted money on the home run. And again, is it wasted money? We don't know, but the higher variance play is I think the better term, right? Anytime you're betting home runs, if you're banking on that home run hitting, then you don't quite understand how this works. So there we go. We put in our protection bet. I do feel good about that. We give that a 52.5% chance to hit. And at that type of odds, and it's CJ Abrams, how often he's hitting it, who he is, and again, this unknown. So could J.R. Ritchie come out and be amazing? Sure. Could this be that we're overanalyzing a young pitcher? I absolutely think that could be the case. So that's where we're at, folks, on that game. We move on. We're doing a whole lot of avoiding. I will tell you, look, if you want to bet St. Louis at Toronto, both these pitchers, Libby and Max Scherzer, sure, take those guys on. They actually have Scherzer starting this time because that's how little respect they give the Cardinal offense. They have a very interesting lineup. They're giving, this is Sunday shenanigans, right? We talk about it. Nootbaar leading off this game. So is there some history with Nootbaar? They're giving JJ Wetterholt the day off. Nootbaar to hit old ass Max Scherzer. Scherzer actually had a decent game last game. I mean, look at these. Talk about dog shit. What am I looking at here? What am I looking at here? So, yeah, I mean, 200 against Max Scherzer. Does hit his fastball well. Interesting play. Burleson against Scherzer. I did mention yesterday that I liked Burleson, but we decided to avoid the bet. He did have at least 2 hits, and he would have hit the props I would have bet for him. 323 versus right-handed pitchers hits Max Scherzer types well. Max Scherzer, one of the most hittable pitchers in baseball, although he did make a comeback. Cardinals in general are cold. We're still saying that even with this a +5, -2, what's the -2? Simply the fact that Burleson likes to strike out and they have a decent bullpen. I mean, you're going to see a full game of Max Burleson. Batting third. All right. You know what? Here I go over betting Sunday day baseball games, but my gosh, Max Scherzer's dog shit, right? He's definitely getting a lot more singles of late than power. So 2 singles yesterday, single. I don't necessarily know if he's really hitting for power right now. Cardinals in run scoring is just like, forget it. Look at this. No RBIs. Walks. He did get a double 2 days ago. Hasn't hit. This is what's sad. Alec Burleson, man. What happened, buddy? What happened to your power? So what? Now I'm looking at this and it's making me rethink this if it's giving me such bad EV here. But we need this alt line to pop up. I think this is, again, what if I'm getting close to even money on an HRR, we're not. -133. We are getting plus money, even money on bases. So I think this is slightly misread at 45.6. I think he's getting hotter again. I think Max Scherzer is dog shit. We're not playing any games with openers trying to fuck with lefties. So you're going to get 3 at bats against Max Scherzer. I think Alec Burleson to hit a double or to get 2 bases is pretty live. He's done it 50%. I think this is truly a 50-50 play, and I am getting 50-50 money. So I'm adding this to my Sunday sprinkle. That's it. This is the only play I'm making, the Sunday sprinkle. I also think that this is live for him to get a single. 60% singles. Let's just make sure that we're not misreading the line. So -110 is the line. If you would have given me plus money there, I might have sprinkled that also. So, Matt Libator sucks. Do you want to go crazy on some Blue Jays power? Again, I don't hate this game. And why do I not hate this game? Is 2 terrible pitchers. But these are also 2 anemic offenses. Elite matchup. Vlad Guerrero batting second against Matthew Libator. Man, Vlad Guerrero has sucked so bad this year. Career 500 against Libby. Libby's hittable. Doesn't hit a slider well. I'm going to just pass because nothing screamed. Toronto's offense, man. Like, okay, yes. If you want to look at anything, do you look at an Okamoto or George Springer home run? Maybe. I'm just passing on this. The only guy who I feel like is kind of waking up of late, just recently watching the game, I mentioned betting Alec Burleson last game. Looked like he was seeing the ball pretty well. So that's just literally a limited take on that one. Now we're going to move to this Miami at Mets game. And I think I brought this up. And this probably isn't going to show up now because I have my odds picked. I actually think this bet looks interesting to me. I just don't understand that we're really willing to say that Robert Stock. Again, I guess it's an unknown. It's a big unknown. Liam Hicks, Stowers, Lopez, Edwards, Conine. all the usual players are in play. Joe Mack's been good of late. Let's just make sure that this is the spread. I'm sure it probably is. I'm sure it is. Yeah, minus 114 FanDuel. I'm going to play it. I'm going to see if I have a boost. Yeah, I got a 30% profit boost. We're going to make this into a plus EV. So plus 115. It's again another FanDuel max wager. So we're again taking the FanDuel boost to make this a plus 115 play. I mean, look, maybe it's a weird play, but we got the Marlins 57 and 55 on the year against a now almost 20 games under 500 New York Mets using Robert Stock, 34 years of age, coming back to the major leagues. I mean, maybe this is a feel-good story. Maybe I'm being a dick, raining on the Robert Stock parade, but I also know that Sandy Alcantara has been a workhorse for Miami, and that, you know, we don't like, that's what's so weird. Like, good starter against what? We don't even know what this is. Like, against a catcher. What? You know what? And then, I'm sorry, but are we actually saying that New York Mets have a better offense without Juan Soto in the lineup? I don't think so. Right? Sure, they got a better bullpen. I'm taking this bet. This is the one play that just seemed off to me. And again, it maybe is that it's a high volatility play, and the fact that we don't know the first thing about what on earth we're going to see with Robert Stock. And I will tell you that Miami's offense has gone cold over post All-Star break, but I also see there that they've kind of kicked it back in. I'm not going to go as far to bet specific players. My only play on this game is I look at the general picture of this game. The wind is, the bottom line is that's my play for that game. We're going to avoid Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. Again, Chase Burns for Cincinnati. Odd weather, cooler, rainy. I guess I was a little curious why Chase Burns didn't pop up for maybe some pitcher props. And I do admit that I think that I didn't look this up because this was an avoid game, but we're going to just spend a little bit of time because I guess I am curious what's been going on with Chase Burns lately. Yeah, that's what's been going on. Post All-Star break, he has struggled. All right, we pass. I mean, look at his recent form. It's not great. Okay, so we're just going to pass. Again, the weather's weird. 7.5 over under, pass. Chicago White Sox at Tampa Bay, just pass. Arizona, Cleveland. Cleveland's got their ace on the mound. They went for a ton of runs yesterday. Cool storms. Wind is in. They both scored a ton of runs last game. Gavin Williams on the mound for Cleveland. Pass. It's honestly just pass. Arizona's not a great team to target to strike out, to be honest. They're hot. I'm just passing. I'm avoiding. I will tell you that if you wanted to look at anything, it's Cleveland bats against Merrill Kelly. But again, not favorable weather. Wind is in. I will show, there's a couple guys that are interesting. I bet Chase DeLauder the other day, and he sucked. And then I don't bet him yesterday, and he crushes it. And then this guy's interesting. We're just going to point out Stephen Kwan. He's leading off. They've kind of got some renewed energy in the Stephen Kwan field here. He was awful, and he's making a big comeback. The weather today's awful. He doesn't have good history against Kelly. He's on our new watch list. Look at his recent form, bases, hits. Got him back in leadoff. Something just to keep in mind in the baseball streets. We're going to avoid Texas at Houston, maybe just because, again, too much. I don't see enough. We're avoiding New York at Chicago. Garrett Cole versus Colin Ray. I mean, that is not a good pitcher for the Cubs, but it's 20-mile-per-hour win, and it's against the Yankees, who can't seem to do anything these days. I just want to avoid the game. Too much weirdness. So that takes us to this game that and I think you're going to see me probably call it after this game. We have to think about this game. I properly called the under game 1. I told you that this could go anywhere game 2, and that we had to at least bet some offense game 2. I didn't bet enough offense game 2. I mean, it was 12-6, right? I just want to see if anything pops here. Kyle Freeland's dog shit. So Carter Jensen, I am not a fan of, but I imagine he's leading off. He has been hot of late. Let's see if we've announced the lineups for this game. All right, so lineups are announced. This pisses me off. Mickey Moniak's batting second tonight after the bullshit of them burying him more in the lineup yesterday. 100 miles per hour wind, 100 degrees, not strong enough wind. We got Lugo, the righty, Freeland, the lefty. I mean, I have some other notes. I can't even read them. My apologies, folks. So Carter Jensen is considered a favorable matchup. Why? I don't really see it as him. Like, I'm a little surprised we think he's this strong, other than it's a great park, great pitcher. Barrels the ball. I mean, his weighted average against this pitching mix to me is honestly unfavorable, 228. So do I want to go crazy on Kyle Freeland? I really don't. But I mean, I'm sorry, on Carter Jensen, I really don't. But he's batting first, and this is a volatile environment. Kyle Freeland to give up 3.5 earned runs. Yeah. Yeah. How long did they leave Freeland in the game, I guess? That's the part that's hard for me to predict. I'm not a fan of betting over earned runs ever, just because of that. This one pisses me off. Mickey Moniak +6 favorable matchup. Now he's batting second. Doesn't have a great career against Seth Lugo. He has struck out against him 5 times. And they've got the odds clearly nuked, because at 1.5 bases, they have this -140. But, man, here I go. Over betting Sunday day baseball. Both pitchers expected to go over on earned runs. Mickey Moniak is considered elite matchup to hit a home run. So there's your elite matchups. Batting second today. Doesn't bat second yesterday. Karros, righty on righty against this. Let's see. Hits his pitch types amazingly well. Seth Lugo's last 3 games, 6 innings pitched with only 1 earned run against the Twins' anemic offense. 5 innings pitched, 7 hits, 5 earned runs against the Guardians' fair offense that I see back. 5 innings pitched, 7 hits, 5 earned runs against the Padres that are kind of your middle of the road. So I don't consider any 3 of these elite offenses. Twins is kind of a dog shit offense. Yeah. Lugo versus right hand versus left hand bats. That's what I thought. His split is close. Right hand batters have actually been slightly better in power and overall damage. Lefties have gotten a better average. So lefties are batting 289 against him. Righties only 265. Honestly, I don't think that this is all this conclusive on the power. 7 home runs to lefties, 8 home runs to righties, 807 OPS versus 800. He's just not good. I think that we have to consider this a nuclear game. And I hate to overbet, because the odds, like, this goes back to, like, you're going to have to look at our EVs here, and you're just going to have to understand that odds are going to be just brutally punished, in my opinion, for this game. It's going to be hard to see lines that you really like, but I mean, look at this. Look at Cole Carrick. Batting third today. Switch hitting, so they don't pull him out of the game. 275, hits his pitch types amazingly well. Struck out. It's interesting though, and I have seen Colorado just let me down sometimes, man. I mean, I have seen these guys piss me off. Like, this could so be one of these games. He actually has an average FIP. It's only the traffic that's there. I think the key to remember this game, and this is what I really want to stress to you, is to just try to limit, to the best of your ability, making this game make or break your day's worth of profit. I have seen these guys let me down. The reason why I really like Cole Carrick, though, and I mean, look, this does kind of go in hand of why I strategize this to be like, okay, I feel comfortable with this. First one is, I got to look at something here. This is interesting. Hunter Goodman's out this game. So that's kind of nice. We don't have the Hunter Goodman making me have to be pissed off, because you just know they're not going to give him any odds worth of crap. So that's kind of interesting. So look at your average. McCarthy 288, Moniak 278, Cole Carrick batting 292 on the season, TJ Rumfield batting 300 for the season is your starting 4. And I think I'm going to limit it to that 4. I don't think I go past that 4, because you know that Goodman's going to be pinch hitting for someone. And I do think you get a lot more variance. But do we have to look at the front 4 for that? 100% you do. 100% you do. Now, on the Kansas City side, you've got dog shit Kyle Freeland. Just dog shit. But again, you've got these goddamn Kansas City bats that just... Kyle Freeland Left hand versus right hand. Left-handed batters, lefty on left, 261 average with a 306 WOBA. And then right-handed batters, 284, 386 WOBA. And he definitely pitches. So, I mean, look, the Kansas City power bats that you really like are Jensen and Caglione. Splits to left hand and right hand. Kyle Freeland, 2 home runs allowed all season long to left-handed batters, 18 home runs allowed to right-handed batters. Jesus Christ. Are we literally... And the joke again yesterday was Salvador Perez has actually been hotter lately. And he had a decent game yesterday, too. Jesus Christ. Ugh. You know, do we really bet Kansas City left-handed bats? I really need to limit my exposure here somewhere. Like, do we really need to just kind of avoid over betting Carter Jensen and Caglione batting first and third? Do we look at Salvador Perez? No, none of these Kansas City bats, again, none of these Kansas City bats, if you've noticed, have come up on favorable or elite. None of them. Nick Lofton. Okay, finally there we go with this. All right. Not getting good EV though. Nick Lofton's interesting. I don't know much about this guy at all. He's batting second. 251 batting average for the year. What do we know about Nick Lofton? Batting 300 versus lefty. Squares up against him pretty well. Not a great history against Kyle Freeland. Minus 200 for Nick Lofton to get an HRR. Holy shit. Talk about juiced. Holy shit. Nick Lofton. Batting second. Boy, what a game to have Witt back. I mean, clearly this guy's not hot. We projected him to bat fifth. The lineup's been announced since, and we haven't updated it since. Caglione, 231 lefty on lefty, 229 against Freeland's main pitch type. .269 versus lefties, and can't hit a four-seam fastball because he's fucking 90 years old. And he's old. But has had decent history against Kyle Freeland. And he seems hot of late. What a weird mixed bag for Kansas City. What a weird mixed bag. Colorado cleaned Kansas City's clock yesterday. Am I missing the boat on this? Are they going to clean their clock again? Is that what this is? Is this Kansas City team that bad? Hunter Goodman's not even playing. Let's let this thing generate some new lines. This has shot up the board. But it's only 51 and a half at minus 120, so no positive EV. It makes sense why this is back up on the board now. 40% chance to hit the money line at plus money. Colorado might beat the pants off Kansas City, but isn't that hilarious? I'm telling you this, and it's Kyle Freeland pitching for Colorado. So, all right, let's avoid that. Let's look at home runs specifically. Let's just look at home runs. Just curious what we're simming out for home runs and looking at what the odds. Again, our odds generally are much lower than the true odds. So you can't look at any of these and say it. I even with Caglione hot, with lefty on lefty, if you're telling me, like, I got 400 on Caglione yesterday, if you're telling me that his home run is literally this juiced, so you can get plus 350 on the score. I'm going to pass. I'm not going to overbet this game. Could he hit a home run? Absolutely. Salvador Perez hits a home run yesterday, and I think he did something else. Like, I think the guy ran for a triple just the other day, which was hilarious. He's definitely hotter. Plus 333 for old ass Sal Perez to hit a home run. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Only 2 home runs given up to lefties this year. I mean, look, you look at things as a weighted average. Are one of these 3 guys hitting a home run today? Yes. So if you're getting plus 3, if you're getting 3 to 1 on your money, you probably make money if you bet all 3 of them. And if you're like, Matt, give me something here, yes or no. Do one of these 3 guys hit a home run today? I'm going to lean towards yes. So the truth is, you probably should bet it. Sunday Day Baseball has burnt me too many times. I'm just showing you the data. I'm sure this is better than 340. I think Carter Jensen, from purely a play of, I think any of these guys could hit a home run, he's at plus 433. So at least when you talk about price versus probability, I think that one maybe stands out a little more to me. I like that more. Now, Mickey Moniak let me down last game. I'm an idiot, and I think that if I'm going to predict a much better chance to hit a home run, I'm probably leaning more towards a Mickey Moniak hitting a home run. I like that he's batting second. I don't like plus 288, which is the best odds I can get on him. So again, do I want to overbet this? No. Will I go ahead and put in a sprinkle with a backup for him? Yes. Based on where he's sitting, I'm not going to do 2.5 hits and run RBI. I'm not doing 2 HRR. Do we go with just the basis as the play? Do we go RBI as a play at plus money when we know that this is an over with a ton of runs about to be scored? I think that if I can get plus money on an RBI, even though if it doesn't scream, and I got to move on, right? So I don't want to take too much time here. So we're going to sprinkle the RBI and basis to say, you know what? We're not. His total basis over 1.5 has moved down to minus 140. So we're not going to overbet Sunday Day Baseball, but we are going to sprinkle in Mickey Moniak again, just because I do think this is just, again, an incredible matchup, right? Plus 6 on the positive side, with his only negatives that he hasn't hit a home run. except 20% of the time, and that he strikes out a lot or has a high chase rate, I should say. So that's what we're going to do there. Cole Carrick doesn't necessarily hit for power. TJ Rumfeld does not hit for power. I mean, the Jake McCarthy one's kind of interesting because he usually gets pretty crazy high odds to hit home runs, and the kid has hit some home runs this year. I think that would be an interesting play just because his odds. Now, why would I ever bet Jake McCarthy home run? Is I got to see home runs that are just off the map. And this shows you how off we are on this. His actual home run is plus 780 for a kid who has hit. Obviously, he's not hitting for power of late. So that certainly concerns me. He had a 2-hit game last game and hit a double last game. He's had 10 home runs. Yeah, I mean, this is interesting. These are your top home run plays. Maybe I should look at Will Castro. Maybe I should expand my horizon. I think Will's batting 5th behind TJ. Well, clearly, like, look at the basics, right? He just doesn't hit for average like the other guys. Will Castro on the year is batting 262, though. His average is up some. He hits Seth Lugo pretty well. All right. All right, Will. Plus 500, Will Castro. See, I rather take my chances on this, If I saw that Kyle Freeland had given up more than 2 home runs to lefty on lefty, I would bet this. If I saw that Salvador Perez wasn't 90 years old and could hit fastballs, I would bet this. There's just too many negatives to going with Kansas City on home run plays. And I don't want to overbet offense this game. Could I again leave a bunch on the table? But this is why I try to explain to you a little what's behind the research that I do. Okay, this is behind our how we look at things. And if I were to pick any of them, I would probably go with the young kid. These guys are both young. I don't know. Jack Caglione is at 350, and he clearly can hit home runs. I'm going to pass on any other plays. I am going to look at the Castro backup plan. I want to see, since they're giving him such good odds on that. Yeah, terrible HR, minus 160. Barely plus money on bases. Barely plus money on RBI. Plus 133 is not good enough for me. So that's just going to be a risk play that I'm going to leave out there for Will Castro to hit a home run. I'm not going to overbet Will Castro. So look, we're gonna start to wrap this up here. We're gonna move quickly. I'm going to not even look up because I already know what I know. I know that Jake McCarthy's hot. So what I'm looking at now is simply what do we think he can do? We're not going to bet him to hit the home run. His HRR at 1.5 is minus 220 is just unbelievably bad. Now I got to look it up. Just curious. we're going to test something to show you, and this is going to be the last thing we're going to do today, because again, we're going on a very long stream time here, and I got to stop making these weekend streams. Yeah, we're back over 2 hours again. So what we're going to leave you with is show you one last feature here. We're going to wait for the alt line to show up. I don't know why it's not. It might be in the process of trying to update some stuff. Come on, alt line. Yeah. Oh, you know why it's not showing up? Because it's such terrible odds. That's my fault. We're going to show the single game parlay because we do have some options for single game parlay again on DraftKings. We're going to build out a parlay 3-leg on Jake McCarthy. It's still broke. Nope, it's not broke. That's my fault. So what are we thinking here? I don't want to go with any unders this game. Will Castro to strike out. That's interesting. We want a 300 plus parlay, which is nice. That's what we're looking for. Will Castro to strike out. He does strike out all the time. Salvador Perez over 1.5 bases. We like it. 60.2% chance to hit. Tovar under an RBI. I just said I didn't like that. Will Castro. So it doesn't want to get off this. It wants to just keep talking about that. Did I have this on a certain type of mode? Conservative. Let's go to moderate and see what it does. Huh. All right. Well, it wants to stay just be. So I'm going to talk to my dev about that. If you're hitting it to rebuild, I don't want it to just flip back and forth to the same two, to be honest. I don't mind these two as far as plays, just again, because Salvador Perez being hotter. But this just gives you an idea of this tool. So we did fix this. I wanted to continue to see our parlay builder improve. So I'd like to see this constantly offer different combinations. Anywho, we're going to call this a wrap at 2 hours. Folks, I appreciate it. Best of luck tonight out there on those streets. Ish 50 here. Let's